Advisor is very happy to welcome back the Honorable Kevin Carey, who is with the Bankruptcy Court for the District of Delaware. Judge Carey, thank you so much for joining us again.
I'm delighted to be here. Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about the trends that you have seen in Chapter 11 filings. Have you noticed a difference in specific sectors?
Well, we had a large number of filings of oil and gas cases over the last few years. Those filings have slowed down a bit as the commodity prices have stabilized. Retail, of course, is a very busy area for us right now and for other places as well, and I expect that's going to continue.
And you're always pretty busy, though. Isn't Delaware the busiest as far as hearing these cases?
We are the busiest bankruptcy court in the country.
Why is that?
Well, we have a set of local rules that set a procedure for how we deal with cases. The 6 judges generally, from a process standpoint, approach things fairly consistently. We decide matters on the merits as we see fit, and we don't necessarily always agree about that. But parties know when they come to Delaware what the process is going to be, and parties seek certainty in process.
And Delaware and New York, of course, the busiest. But is there more of a trend where businesses are now filing in the state of origin?
Well, many of the oil and gas cases filed in Houston, so they were very busy with those and still are. Some of those, although some of the retail cases have found other places. Toys R Us filed in Virginia. So there are lots of filings that occur other places.
Now, this is going to be information that I think a lot of attorneys are going to want to listen to very carefully. When an attorney brings a case before you, what do they do right generally, and what do they generally do wrong? What may be important to them isn't necessarily what may be important to you to hear.
Well, and that's specifically when a lawyer makes a presentation and a judge asks a question, it tells the lawyer what the judge is thinking and what the judge is concerned about. So what the lawyer should do is be responsive to the question that the judge asks, not the question that the lawyer would like to answer. And as a practical matter, because time and money in bankruptcy cases are so tight, even though there are appeal rights of the decisions that we make, we're almost always the last decider on a matter, because there's not enough money or time for an issue to find its way up the appellate chain.
And do most attorneys pick up on that? Do they get that when you ask a question that that's what you want?
They do, and if they don't, I'll say something like, you know, counselor, the line of questioning or the line of argument that you're making is not very helpful to me in making the decision you want me to make.
And the smart attorney gets that right away.
Yes.
As far as regulations affecting bankruptcy, are there any changes coming or in the works?
Well, there's recently been a venue change bill pending to eliminate from the venue provision place of incorporation as a place where you could file a bankruptcy. Not much activity on that at the moment. There's also continuing talk on financial institutions and Dodd-Frank and whether there should be further adjustments to that, but nothing really directly on the horizon, but it has been pending for a bit.
Last time we spoke, there were changes in the bench, people retiring. Has that slowed down somewhat, or is that still in?
Well, actually, a lot of the judges I went to baby judge school with have retired or are retiring. Right. There has been a lot of change. I think it's slowed a little bit, but there are a lot of new faces on the bankruptcy bench around the country.
Okay, and then one last question, if we could go back to the filings again. Are you seeing some sectors more than others? Retail, I would think?
See a lot of retail. Claire's filed in Delaware this week. I have a couple retail cases myself right now. And I think just given how the industry and the world is changing, we're going to continue to see those filings.
Judge Carey, you are a longtime friend of the M&A Advisor. You've been to a lot of our symposiums and you've contributed a lot of information. Why do you feel it important to attend these symposiums?
Well, when I first took the bench over 17 years ago, I decided that I did not want to become isolated in my courtroom. Because if a judge wants to be, you can be isolated in the courtroom. So I've always gotten out. I do a lot of conferences to meet people outside of the courtroom. I learn things. I go to the panels, even the ones I'm not on, to learn new things, and I do. I think it makes me a better judge, gives me a better worldview of what's happening outside of my courtroom, and frankly, much of what goes on in a Chapter 11 case happens outside of the courtroom. So it helps me do a better job in things I do. I really enjoy it, and I hope to continue it.
Well, we hope to see you at many, many more symposiums. Thank you, Judge Carey. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. It was my pleasure.